Hello lovelies, it's time for our unboxing of the Bravery Kit. Ta-da! I'm really excited for this kit, which I know I say with every single kit, but the Bravery Kit is designed to help support those passions and those purposes that we've had over the last few months to rising up and doing things that are outside of what we normally would enjoy in our comfort zone. And so with this kit, it is designed to push you outside of your comfort zone just enough in order to get closer to what you desire most. So let's see what's inside. So the very first thing that you'll notice in your kit is your list of all of your items and then also your crystal grid. Now there's a whole video explaining the crystal grid symbology and how to place your crystals on the grid. So enjoy watching that video, but for this purpose I just wanted to point out that this is definitely one of the ones that have lots of layers to them depending on what your focus and intention is. If it's about transforming and shifting yourself into something that you have always wanted and you feel reserved about, then definitely the butterfly is going to come out more. Or if it's about conquering your fears and creating a web weaver of dreams, then the spider in the center might jump out at you. If it's about transmutation and using that dragon medicine, that phoenix, and purging out what doesn't serve, and even in that is sometimes doing the shadow work. The snake is a symbol of shadow work when I work with her. Just to dive into all of that deeper. So this is your hand painted crystal grid. And of course we have the flower of life in the center, which is my favorite sacred geometry symbol. So we'll go over that more in the next video. You also have your tarot card with meditation scan on the back. And this card is the Knight of Swords. So very bravery. And Rick has that amazing meditation to go with it. Then you'll notice some rolled up parchment. Ta-da! So that is your Dragon's Blood writing kit. So you can see you have information on how to use your kit, and mine's covered in dragon's blood. You also have extra blank parchments, and we'll be going over these in the meditations, but that's what those are for. So they are blank parchment paper that you're going to be putting intentions and calling out some of your bravery. Also with that, you'll notice you have your dragon's blood ink. Now again, no dragons were harmed in the creation of this kit. But our dragon's blood is a powerful bright red ink, as you saw all over mine. And then you'll have a quill nib and a feather. And so the nib will actually slide out of the little container and you'll attach it to the side just like that. Now you have a few options here. You can put a little bit of adhesive or tape, or you can just hold it as you write with your calligraphy. You'll dip it in the ink and then you can do your fancy writing with it. And we'll go over details of why we chose everything in the kit. I just want to make sure that you know what everything is on this one. But definitely there's a power in anchoring into the softer grounding force of setting aside pure intention. If you think of how often we write letters by hand nowadays, when somebody does write you and mail you a handwritten letter, it's extra meaningful. It's extra connected to the heart. If somebody writes it in calligraphy, oh, they took time to be as artistic and beautiful as they did with their words. And of course, our red is the color of that fiery purpose and passion. Next, you'll notice your bell. So the really nice thing about this particular bell that I have in my kit is that it has a rope that can hang on a door. So brass bells are used to ward off a lot of evil and also a calling in and evoking a lot of angels. So when you're feeling like you really need to claim some part, or you really need to move forward with massive force without holding a lot of these fears, that's when we're going to call in with our copper bell, or putting them on your doors so as the door opens, you're reminded of your purpose and your intention. So I recommend definitely going through the intention setting video to get clear in what you want to create with that. The next thing is your copper bracelet. So you just slide it on your wrist and you can squeeze it to fit. And this bracelet is either going to be the trees or the Om symbol. There's two options, and it just depends on intuitively what we felt like you needed. So that's your copper bracelet that comes in the kit. Then the Orgone pyramids. So I love these, and I have actually two different ones because each one is different. So the one you got is the one that we felt Spirit was guiding us to put in your kit. So each one has specific meanings inside. Now these are a little bit different than traditional ones, because traditional ones, although all the organs, the difference between a regular pyramid and it becoming an organ is that it's a transmuter of energies. So you'll notice that there's a coil inside. This one has a really easy one to see. That one does too. It's either going to be red or gold copper. And in this coil, wrapped in it, is actually a clear quartz. So it takes that energy of the quartz and it spirals it up and out through the top. And we'll use that more in our crystal grid as well. It's also infused with many different crystals. Again, depending on what we felt inspired is what we put in yours. There are also a unique thing about these ones that we were able to create is that we combined the 4 elements with it to make sure that each one is very balanced, and you're pulling in the balancing and the anchoring and kind of calling in all your forces. So you'll notice that each one has a feather, ethically sourced and handpicked from my home, probably from my chickens that you're hearing in the background, and my ducks. So each one has a feather, that's our wind element. Each one has plants for the earth element, including rosemary, which is very protective, which is often planted in front of their homes to ward off evil. There's also the fire element. So there's dragon's blood, sage, as well as burnt, smudged shavings of Palo Santos and sage and copal. So after I smudged them, I put the ashes inside. So if you see the little black thingies, that's what that is. I'm not sure if you can pick it up on the camera. So we have the fire element, and then of course the water element, and we have seashells that I collected from ocean sides. And there's also some blue in there. Oh, this one you can kind of see there's a little bit of blue in there. And some of them even have pine. This one has a little bit of pine with it. Yeah, so there's a lot of beautiful things. There's also a gear in each one. So the gears are going to be a little bit different, but there is a gear. And that's to remind us that bravery is that masculine component, where the last kit was very feminine. It was the passion and the noni eggs. This one is tied in with that masculine side. And just because we may not be men, we may still have that masculine side, just like the passion kit wasn't just for women either. And so pulling in the masculine side and understanding it. So the masculine side is tied in with action and movement. And so that's why we have the gears, because it's what work needs to come into play, what action needs to come into play for us to make sure our passion is fueled and things are moving forward. There's also a word. The words are different. So this one says trust. Well, hello, birds. And the other one says enough. So depending on what was inspired for you and your specific one, you got a different word. So taking time to ponder on those and asking yourself the question, why would this word ring true rather than, that's what they picked? Ask yourself why that would ring true right now, especially having to do with bravery. So for me, trust, this might be the one I want to keep. Definitely ties into trusting that I am putting my efforts in the right direction and having that bravery to actually trust that things will come through. And then also enough, all that we offer is enough. And bravery to sometimes say no and to pull back. I think especially for that one for me. Sometimes with my art, I have to go, okay, let it be done. So those are the organs. You can put them in a room and they will cleanse and transmute the energy, but I would also recommend putting them on your crystal grid, and those are in the video. So speaking of the masculine side, the next one you have are your Malephallic Crystals. So you have one of 3 different types, and I'll go through each of those. So Bloodstone has the green with the red markings. And then we have Lapis Lazuli, it'll pick up, is the blue one. And then we have Dragon, which is the green speckled without any red in it. So, and you can kind of see the greens are just a little bit different. It's a little bit more of a lime green versus like a mossy green. So there's Bloodstone, Dragons, and then of course the Lapis. So you have one of 3. And we'll be going through some of these more in the crystal grid, but I want to just point out what each one is. So the Bloodstone, this one is the one of Christ's compassion. It's also the stone of being an activator and a cleanser of stagnant energy and alchemizing. So there's lots of powerful in this little one. And then lapis is one of royalty. A lot of the ancient Egyptian symbols have lapis in them, and most of that is because it is powerful for the throat chakra, but also all the way up to the crown. So calling in and speaking truth is going to be a huge piece for that. So this dragon stone is very much tied into the Kundalini and the sacral chakra, so that base support system, so that creative force that carries that energy all the way up through the body. It's deep for healing the sexual traumas, the sexual wounds, but also what your gift is to the world and calling that into magnification. So lots of tying in with the earth's energy, very grounding, but also stimulating up to rising up to the top. So that's our dragon stone. So the next one we have are the black stones, and these are shungite. So shungite is really great for anytime you have things around technology because they help to cancel out a lot of the EMFs, but it's mostly a protective stone, a deep healing stone. It cleanses the body, also cleanses the energetic body. It's known as being the miracle stone because it's the stone of life, because of all of it's known for healing and boosting and protecting and moving energies forward. Very, very, very cleansing. It's a really good one to have like on you, put it in your pockets, in your bra, wherever feels good. But it's definitely a powerful, powerful stone. And you actually have two because this is definitely a kit of bravery, and why not carry these with you? So we'll be going over these more in the crystal grid. And then lastly, we have our necklace. Oh, I'm wearing mine actually. We have our beautiful blue kyanite necklace. So blue kyanite, its role is to open up that throat chakra. And when we were tuning into bravery and what we would need in order to move through bravery, call in more bravery, the throat was screaming out, we have to address the throat, because in order to have ourselves be heard and be seen, we have to unlock this throat chakra. So if you think about it, anytime your throat is struggling, usually it's because your head and your heart aren't on the same page. And who pays the price? The throat in the middle. So I always relate it to the throat is often the child in between two arguing parents. You can't please either one, and it doesn't know what to do, so it does nothing. So oftentimes when our head's taking over or our heart's taking over and they don't agree, we don't voice. And when we do voice, it doesn't come across the way we think it should or the way we feel it should. And we second guess ourselves. And even after we've voiced ourselves, we'll go through and think of all the scenarios of how it should be different. So opening up and activating that, you'll notice that most of these are a little bit bigger. Some of them I felt like needed to be smaller. So if you got a smaller one, it's probably because you're supposed to wear it more often, or it would be too intense. I'm not sure. But I really love them. I love being able to have them with me. And kyanite, especially when it's linear like this, and it's almost as if you're opening this up and branching it out. And with the cord being a little bit longer on me, I really like it because it's in my higher heart chakra, between my heart and my throat. So it can start cleansing and transmuting before it gets up here, rather than me having to vomit and purge out all my thoughts and feelings and emotions. So that is your blue kyanite, and we'll be discussing this more as well. So thank you so much for grabbing your bravery kit. You've already proven that you're brave by doing so, and I look forward to connecting with you in our future videos. Love you guys.